Good morning, viewers. My name is Rumi Rahagi, and you are watching SI News Live. A study released on Tuesday, 12th of April 2022, revealed a harrowing data on the rapidly rising teenage overdose death. Despite overall drug use hitting a historic low, Joseph Friedman, study author and researcher studying medicine and medical informatics at the University of California, Los Angeles, pointed out that the problem lies not from more teens using drugs, but rather drug use as a whole is becoming more dangerous. According to the GAMA published study, adolescent overdose deaths in the United States have more than doubled in a decade, jumping from around 500 in 2010 to nearly 1,200 deaths annually in 2021. The study also said that fentanyl was involved in more than 77% of adolescent overdose deaths in 2021. According to the US Drug Enforcement Agency, fentanyl is 50 times more powerful than heroin and is extremely cheap to produce. Friedman stated that with drug use among teens currently at a historic low, the amount of fentanyl being sold to them in the form of common medications counterfeit, coupled with the lack of awareness of the risks they face taking these pills, is a big part of the problem. Teens are buying what they think are legitimate pills, but are actually what Sheila Fakaria, Deputy Director for the Department of Research and Academic Engagement in the Drug Policy Alliance, describes as pressed pills that were made in the underground market and were pressed to look real. Morgan Godfin, a writer and an advocate for overdose policy, said the focus in reducing teen drug use in the US has been successful. She also added that the bad news is that big changes needed to be made to reduce overdose death. Godfin said that these are not the same prescription pills that older generations use. Counterfeits are now being made with fentanyl, packaged to look near identical to legitimate medicines and sold on the street to teens who are unaware of the risk they pose. Friedman said there's a need to update their understanding so that they know that pills are actually becoming the most dangerous thing. He went on to say that additionally, because different pills contain different amounts of fentanyl, both individuals who are experimenting and those who take the pills on a daily basis often have no idea what they are taking and are therefore at a huge risk. Friedman, Godfin, and Fakaria suggested that to address the rise in deaths, schools and families should concentrate on educating teenagers about the true risks associated with drugs, what an overdose looks like, where to get naloxone that are used to treat overdoses, and how to test drugs for the possible presence of fentanyl. Some adolescent families might be concerned that having open discussions about safe practices to lower overdose deaths might push their kids to start using, but Godfin said the opposite is actually true. Godfin said, this fear of sending the wrong message about drugs is sending teenagers to their graves. Parents are so critical as a credible messenger for their own kids or for those in their kids' peer group. She states, harm reduction is not enabling them. Not all teenagers will experiment with substances, but many will. Even with historic low rates of drug use, the National Institute on Drug Abuse estimates that over 20% of youths in the 8th, 10th, and 12th grades take illicit substances in 2021. Teens who will experiment with drugs and alcohol, as well as those who will not, benefit from an honest, nuanced awareness of the risk they pose. According to Godfin, if a parent says that people who try ecstasy often die immediately, yet a child attends a party where dozens of other teens take the drug and show up at school the next day, they may lose faith in the information they receive from trustworthy adults in their lives. Instead, she continued, they often look to their peers, the internet, and popular media for information, all of which can often give dangerous misinformation. Teens benefit in numerous ways from discussions that outline which drugs are risky and which are inherently dangerous, as well as how to manage them properly. According to Fakaria, they both encourage adolescents to make wiser decisions and convey to them that their families are there for them, both when they have questions as well as when they need support. Godfin ends it with stating, when you give people better options, they make better choices. That is all our news for today. I'll be back at 12 a.m. for our afternoon news. But right now, stay tuned for our next program, ELF on Air, only on ESA TV.